It's time to catch 'em all, as Once Human's latest update introduces some amazing new deviations. The Whalepup, Director Fox, the Soul Summoner, and my absolute favorite, the Zapamander. They're all obtainable in every single scenario, but for some, especially the new Pokemon Palworld scenario, they can be extremely difficult to get your hands on. So in today's guide, I'm gonna show you where to find every single one of them and how you can maximize your odds for the absolute best rolls. If you're searching a specific deviation still, timestamps are in the description, while I very much recommend you to watch from beginning till the end, as this guide contains plenty of tips and tricks to really get the most out of all these deviations, especially towards the end with the Zapamander. We're gonna do a rare fusion, which took hours and hours of trial and error, so with this guide you can save a lot of time. As of today, we have access to 7 different scenarios in Once Human that cater both PvE and PvP players with a very unique playstyle. My main is currently on the Deviation Survive Capture Preserve, or the Pokemon scenario, where, well, it's entirely different how you can get your hands on these deviations, so let me quickly bring up a map with all the essential locations. A link to this map can be found in the description. In my opinion, it's an amazing tool to find pretty much anything you need in the game, for any scenario. Most scenarios only have access to this part of the map: Chalk Peak, Broken Delta, the Wetlands, Iron River, Red Sands, and the Blackheart region, with also these main towns. So let's check out all the Securement Silos for a second. The first one you gain access to is Securement Silo Sigma. Later on, you also have access to Phi, you gain access to X1, Securement Silo Alpha, Psi, and also Theta. If you're playing on the Way of Winter scenario, this is where you want to be for, I think, Taurus. Then we also have Securement Silo Psi, the Winter variant, X1, and also Delta. So let's start off with Director Fox, a pretty fancy looking doctor, which on most scenarios can be obtained after you've completed Securement Silo Psi, that's PSI, or Psi Winter on Pro or Nightmare difficulty. The higher the difficulty, the better the chances you're gonna encounter it, while it can also become more powerful. On my scenario, this territory deviation is a whole lot easier to get your hands on, which can actually be found on multiple locations. If we open the map, this is actually a nice tip for people who are new to the game or not yet familiar with all the little tricks. You can actually go to the left part of your map and toggle this overlay, with which you can find different types of resources, highlight them on the map, but also deviations right now. So if we press resource tracking on Director Fox, you can see that he pops up all over the map basically. So he's not going to be difficult for you to get your hands on. Especially this location is super easy to get to, as it's right next to the teleportation tower of Blackfell. You can also find him near the Agate Tundra. This is also where I made my mark, just a little bit west of Mooseville and also a little bit northeast of the Mooseville Sweet Factory. This is actually where you can find a ton of those popping up. And if you encounter one or more on this scenario, they're also accompanied by some animals, which can make it pretty tricky to capture him, while if you bring some decent Pokeballs and assistance of your own Pokemon, it's gonna be pretty easy to capture him. If you're playing on Deviation, Survive, Capture, Preserve, you can also check out the skill and activity ratings, by the way, if you press plus on the Symbiosis or Pokédex, highlight a character, press View Traits. This will allow you to toggle between Capture, Preserve or the standard scenario. This is where you can find all these ratings and of course also the traits and abilities they come with. Next up, we have the Soul Summoner. I think a pretty cute little deviation that comes with a furry cloak with a wolf head. Just like Director Fox on most scenarios, you're gonna have to hunt for this one inside silos. Securement Silo X1 on most of them can be found exactly right there in Chalk Peak, while for the Way of Winter scenario, you want to go to this exact location east in the Tundra. Again, go for either Pro or Nightmare difficulty. The higher the difficulty, the better the odds of finding one with better stats. For this scenario, you once again have to find him at specific locations, which is going to make capturing him pretty easy. You're gonna have to make a little bit of progression. Beat the Chaosaurus Rex or check out my previous guides how you can rush the endgame. But long story short, if you open the map, you won't be able to find him in the early zone even after you've captured one and toggled the resource tracking. He simply won't pop up, so make your way to the Agate Tundra. I think the Snow Sprite Thunderclap gym is already a nice one to start. As if we now stop and rescan the area, see? We have a lot of them popping up in the zone, like literally everywhere. So you don't have to worry about not finding it. It's going to be all over the place, not only in this part of the world, but also in the west. So this is where you should go for them if you want to capture them on the highest level. Ah, there we go. Little Soul Summoner. If we take out our Ultra Balls, you can see that the chances to capture this one are still pretty low. So I'm going to first weaken it. Wow, look at that Zapamander ultimate right there. That hit like a truck. And voila, we've just captured our Soul Summoner. On number 3, probably one of my favorite Deviation designs, the Whalepup. I mean, the other two right here also look beautiful. But still, I don't know, this one is cute and cool at the same time. On most scenarios, Securement Silo farming is how you'll be able to get it. On the standard ones with access to the main map, let's say, this is where you'll be able to find Securement Silo Theta, while for the Way of Winter, you want to search for Securement Silo Taurus, which is pretty close to Oblivion right there, 08. Not really sure why it's still called that way on this map, but all the rest already has their right names. For the Deviation Survive, Capture, Preserve scenario, where you gotta catch them all, well, of course, you have to catch it in the wild, which can be done pretty easily in the Blackheart region. One of my favorite spots for this one would be the massive lake near the White Cliff wishing statue. So simply use the Giant Stairs TP tower. I'm gonna be honest, this scenario is pretty depressing with the lunar event because, yeah, it's just dark all the time, you're depressed all the time. But here we go, we've got a Whalepup right in front of us, another one in the distance right there, as well as a couple tar puddings. So I'd say this is the perfect location to get your hands on it. Voila, 100%. I'm gonna quickly throw that Ultra Ball and secure it. GG. Then, last but definitely not least, my absolute favorite, the Zapamander, which becomes even cooler if you fuse it right. On most scenarios, you simply want to spam farm Securement Silo Alpha and Delta. Alpha can be found in Chalk Peak, exactly right there, while for the Way of Winter scenario, you want to search for this specific dungeon. On Deviation Survive, Capture, Preserve though, it's gonna be a little bit trickier to get your hands on this one, as it simply doesn't pop up in the wild. If we quickly check out the map, you can not find it in regular drops, obtainable only through Deviation Fusion. So what you want to do is actually make your way to the Verdant Arena, the very first one in Blackfell. Remember Chaos Kitty with her hideous voice? Well, this is where you want to be. Simply talk to her and press shop. Right here, you can pick up the species code Zapamander for 120 victory coins, which are pretty easy to get your hands on if you just keep showing this annoying cat who's boss. But now comes the hard part, as you won't be able to use this item for fusion just yet. You first have to get your hands on Symbiosis or Pokédex level 8, which only happens after you've completed a couple boss fights or arena battles, let's say. I'm working on a full guide for that, which I'll have live as quick as possible. But long story short, you need this Symbiosis level to gain access to certain Memetic upgrades, which can be found in the Crafting tab. You want to scroll all the way down right here, and this is where they start, at the Synthesis bench. Species Mutagen 1, that's the one where you think you can start using it, but you're actually going to need the second upgrade, which is unlocked after you've taken Synthesis Bench 2, which requires, you guessed it, the Symbiosis level 8. Then you can pick up Species Mutagen 2 and also Chaos Mutagen. That's the one you're going to need for the Zapamander. Now, once you've been through all that struggle, finally unlocked Symbiosis level 8 and, of course, the blueprint for the Synthesis bench, you're probably still in trouble as you won't have instant access to all these resources. I mean, this one right here also requires automatic parts, a total of 30, and you simply won't be able to get your hands on these in phase 1, which I'm on right now as well, which is going to end after a couple days. So what I very much recommend you to do is simply inherit these resources from Eternal Land. Type in automatic parts, bring like 30. These are pretty cheap. I mean, this barely takes away any of this accuracy. Check out the Grade S Species Mutagen and throw in one of those Zapamander codes in here or whatever type you want to do. I very much recommend to also go for a low-level crystal, the vanadiums or berylliums, as these are pretty easy to get your hands on in the lowest level towns. Then you want to take it to the fusion pot. Now, this is where things become very interesting, but also super important, guys. You don't want to mess this up, as you can literally lose your species code to the Zapamander entirely. And you have a purchase limit on these, so please don't mess it up. The Zapamander will pop up if you fuse 2 other deviations with a mutagen item which we've just crafted. It's very important right here that you choose 2 of the exact same type of deviation, as this is going to maximize your odds of getting a Zapamander. In my case, I choose 2 times a by the wind. You also want to check out their traits or abilities, so you know if there's going to be something interesting or relevant in there. Especially check out their activity and skill ratings if you also want to take this one to a different scenario later on. A 5-5 would be the absolute best roll. In fusion materials, you can also choose another deviation, but this again reduces your odds of getting a Zapamander. If you have these red alarm lights, I can't really remember where exactly I found them, but I think by just simply looting towns, you can actually get a trait called Eureka Moment, and some deviations with this effect will have a changed appearance. Only 5 seconds left right now, guys, so I'm super curious what we're gonna get this time. Please let it be a Zapamander. There we go. GG. So this guy right here, S rank, with an alarm lamp on top of his forehead. Oh man, this is just the real deal. And look at that. We've got a sweet 5 skill rating, activity rating of 4. So I am super happy with this one right here. By the way, I'm super curious what your favorite of all 4 is. Let us know in the comments down below. And if you already managed to get your hands on one with a 5-5 rating. If you found this video helpful, a like is very much appreciated. And of course, questions, suggestions, very welcome in the comments as well. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, as a lot more is coming your way. Right now though, it's 4 AM out. I want to wish you an amazing day. I'll check you in the next video or live stream. Peace.